The infinite expanse of the null realm remained silent, a graveyard of nothingness where time itself seemed to hesitate before the imminent eruption of divine violence. Floating amidst the void, debris from shattered planets drifted aimlessly, serving as the only footing for the warriors who stood ready to shake the foundations of existence. Son Goku adjusted the weighted wristbands of his torn orange Jai, his breathing steady and rhythmic despite the overwhelming pressure crushing down on his shoulders. Beside him, Vegito wiped a streak of blood from his cheek, his eyes burning with a fierce intensity that refused to acknowledge the trembling of his own exhausted muscles. High above them, hovering with the casual grace of absolute power, was Lord Beerus, the god of destruction of Universe 7, peeling a fruit with agonizing slowness. To Beerus's right floated L'Quire, the fox god of Universe 8, whose 3 golden tails twitched with anticipation, generating static electricity that crackled through the vacuum. "I'm beginning to lose my patience," Beerus announced, his voice echoing without an atmosphere to carry it, projecting directly into the minds of the Scions. "If this is the extent of your power after all that training," Beerus continued, tossing the fruit peel away, "then perhaps I should erase Earth simply to alleviate my boredom." That threat struck a nerve, causing Goku's aura to flare instantly, a golden flame enveloping his body as he transformed into a Super Saiyan. "You won't touch my home, Lord Beerus," Goku declared, his voice dropping an octave, losing its usual playfulness entirely. Vegeta stepped forward, his boots crunching on the floating rock, his pride stinging at the casual dismissal from the deity. "We are not here for your entertainment," Vegeta snarled. "We are here to surpass you, and I will be the one to drag you down from your pedestal." L'Quire laughed, a sharp, barking sound, and suddenly blurred out of existence, moving faster than a mortal mind could process. Before Vegeta could blink, a furry fist buried itself in his stomach, the force of the blow expelling the air from his lungs in a violent burst. Vegeta doubled over, eyes wide with shock, as the shockwave from the punch extended for miles behind him, shattering 3 distant asteroids. "Vegeta!" Goku screamed, launching himself forward, but Beerus intercepted him with a lazy flick of his finger against Goku's forehead. The impact felt like a planet colliding with his skull, sending Goku spinning uncontrollably through the void until he crashed into a floating mountain. The mountain crumbled instantly upon impact, burying the Scion under tons of alien rock and dust. "Disappointing," L'Quire sneered, grabbing Vegeta by his armored collar and tossing him toward the wreckage where Goku had fallen. Vegeta crashed into the debris, his body skipping across the jagged stones like a stone across water before coming to a painful halt. He tried to rise, his arms shaking, but a heavy boot slammed onto his back, pinning him to the ground. It was L'Quire, pressing down with just enough force to crack the Scion armor, but not enough to kill him instantly. "You speak of surpassing gods," L'Quire mocked, leaning down to whisper in Vegeta's ear, "yet you cannot even track my movements." Suddenly, the rubble exploded outward as a beam of blue light pierced the sky, forcing L'Quire to jump back to avoid incineration. Goku emerged from the dust, now in his Super Saiyan blue form, his eyes focused and calm despite the chaos. "Get off him!" Goku roared, cupping his hands at his side as blue energy gathered in a swirling vortex. "Kamehameha!" he shouted, firing a massive beam that illuminated the dark void with blinding azure light. Beerus didn't even dodge. He simply raised his hand, catching the energy wave in his palm. The energy hissed and popped, struggling against the god's skin, but Beerus crushed it into a tiny ball of light and flicked it away. The deflected blast struck a distant nebula, causing a massive explosion that would have wiped out a solar system in the mortal realm. "Is that all?" Beerus asked, looking genuinely bored. "I expected more from the one who achieved Ultra Instinct." Vegeta rose to his feet, spitting blood, his anger boiling over as he tapped into his own dark power. His hair turned a deep, royal purple, and his eyebrows disappeared as he entered the Ultra Ego state, embracing the damage he had taken. "I get stronger the more you hurt me." Vegeta laughed maniacally, launching himself at L'Quire with renewed ferocity. The fight exploded into a blur of motion, with Vegeta trading blows with the Fox God, ignoring defense entirely to land heavy strikes. Goku joined the fray, teaming up with Vegeta to assault Beerus, their movements synchronizing through years of shared combat. Goku aimed a high kick at Beerus's head, while Vegeta swept low, trying to off-balance the cat-like deity. Beerus blocked both attacks simultaneously, catching Goku's ankle and stepping on Vegeta's wrist. Too predictable, Beerus sighed, spinning around and unleashing a ki, an invisible shout of ki that blasted both Scions backward. They tumbled through the air, correcting themselves just in time to see L'Quire and Beerus hovering together, raising their hands. A massive sphere of destruction energy began to form between the two gods, purple and black, crackling with the power of erasure. The gravity in the null realm increased 1,000-fold, pinning Goku and Vegeta to their floating rock. "This ends now," L'Quire stated. "If you cannot survive this, you are never worthy of being rivals." Goku looked at Vegeta, seeing the desperation in the prince's eyes, and knew they had run out of options. "Vegeta, the earrings!" Goku shouted, reaching into his pocket to pull out the Patera's set they had been given by the Supreme Kai. "I would rather die than fuse with you again," Vegeta yelled, struggling to stand against the crushing gravity. "If we die here, Bulma and Bulla die too," Goku countered, knowing exactly which button to push. Vegeta grit his teeth, the image of his family flashing in his mind, and snatched the earring from Goku's hand. "Damn you, Kakarot!" Vegeta cursed as he clipped the earring onto his right ear. Goku smiled, clipping his onto the left, and immediately a magnetic force pulled their bodies together. The two Scions collided in a flash of brilliant white light, just as the sphere of destruction descended upon them. The explosion was absolute, consuming the entire sector of the Null Realm in a dome of purple annihilation. Beerus watched closely, his eyes narrowing as he sensed something cutting through the destruction energy. A golden beam of light sliced the purple sphere in half, dispersing the attack into harmless sparks. Floating in the center of the impact zone was a warrior radiating immense confidence, his arms crossed over his chest. "All right," the warrior shouted, his voice a dual resonance of Goku and Vegeta, deeply intimidating yet heroic. "I am Vegito Blue," he announced, his aura flaring up into a massive pillar of divine blue flame. The pressure coming from Vegito was so intense that debris began to orbit around him like moons around a planet. Finally, Beerus grinned, cracking his knuckles, a challenge worthy of a god. Vegito vanished, reappearing instantly between Beerus and L'Quire with a smirk on his face. He grabbed L'Quire by the tails and spun him around, using the Fox God as a weapon to slam into Beerus. The impact sent both gods crashing into the ground, creating a crater the size of a continent. Vegito didn't let up. He raised his hand, generating a sword of pure spirit energy that extended for miles. "Spirit sword," he yelled, slashing downward, cutting through the floating terrain and forcing the gods to dodge. L'Quire, now furious, unleashed a barrage of energy tails, trying to overwhelm Vegito with numbers. Vegito weaved through the attacks effortlessly, his movements a perfect blend of Goku's fluidity and Vegeta's precision. He landed a solid punch on L'Quire's snout, disorienting the god, before turning to kick Beerus in the chest. For a moment, it seemed the mortal fusion had the upper hand, pushing the deities back with sheer, overwhelming power. "Final Kamehameha," Vegito chanted, gathering the full force of his ki into a single, devastating attack. But just as he prepared to fire, the Patera earrings cracked, unable to sustain the massive energy output of Super Saiyan Blue mixed with Ultra Ego. The fusion shattered instantly, separating Goku and Vegeta and leaving them vulnerable in midair. The gathered energy backfired, exploding in their faces and sending them plummeting to the ground. They hit the hard stone with a sickening thud, their energy completely drained, lying defenseless before the angry gods. L'Quire stood over them, charging a Hawkeye blast in his palm, ready to erase them from existence. A valiant effort, Beerus admitted, walking over slowly, but ultimately futile. Goku stared up at the purple energy, his vision blurring, his body screaming in agony. He thought of his friends, his family, and the promise he made to always protect his universe. He didn't feel fear. He felt a sudden, profound emptiness, a letting go of all unnecessary thoughts. His heartbeat slowed down, booming in his ears like a war drum, separate from the chaos around him. Beside him, Vegeta clawed at the ground, his pride refusing to let him die lying down like a beaten dog. "I am the prince," Vegeta gasped, his vision turning red as he forced his body to move through sheer willpower. Suddenly, a pillar of heat erupted from Goku, so intense that it melted the rock beneath him into lava. His hair lifted slowly, turning a shimmering silver, and his eyes locked onto L'Quire with zero emotion. At the same time, Vegeta's aura exploded in a torrent of violet flame, his muscle mass increasing as he embraced his destruction nature. "Ultra Instinct," Beerus whispered, stepping back as the heat became unbearable. "An Ultra Ego," L'Quire noted, realizing the situation had shifted once again. Goku moved without moving, simply appearing behind L'Quire, his fist buried in the god's gut before the image of him registered. Vegeta roared, grabbing Beerus's arm and head-butting the god, the impact shaking the entire realm. The four warriors clashed again, but this time, the Scions were not holding back, fighting with the desperation of dying men. The null realm began to crack and splinter, the sky turning white from the sheer volume of energy being released. Goku dodged every attack with perfect precision, his body reacting instinctively to every threat. Vegeta tanked every blow, converting the pain into raw power, his attacks becoming heavier with every second. They fought not as rivals, but as perfect counterparts, covering each other's weaknesses. As Goku knocked L'Quire into the air, Vegeta was there to spike him down with a double axe handle. As Beerus tried to blast Vegeta, Goku intercepted the beam, deflecting it with a wave of his hand. The battle reached a crescendo, a blinding cacophony of light and violence that transcended understanding. Finally, with one last synchronized shout, Goku and Vegeta launched their signature attacks. Kamehameha, Gallic Gun. The two beams intertwined, forming a massive helix of silver and purple energy that engulfed the gods. The explosion was so bright it washed out all color, leaving only a pure white silence. When the vision returned, all four fighters were lying on their backs, staring up at the empty void. They were battered, bruised, and completely exhausted, unable to lift even a finger. A long silence stretched between them, broken only by the sound of ragged breathing. "Ha!" Goku chuckled weakly, a smile spreading across his bloody face. "That was fun." "Shut up, Kakarot," Vegeta grumbled, though there was no malice in his voice, only relief. Beerus sat up slowly, rubbing his sore jaw, and looked at his students with a strange expression. "You managed to land a blow on a destroyer," Beerus admitted. "I suppose you survived for today." L'Quire dusted off his fur, looking annoyed but respectful. "Next time I won't hold back." Whis descended from the sky, tapping his staff to heal the warriors, his face beaming with pride. "Well done, everyone," Whis chimed. "I believe you've earned a feast." The word feast revitalized Goku instantly, and he jumped up, ready for the next adventure. As they walked away, Vegeta glanced back at the battlefield, knowing that they had stepped into a new realm of power, and the journey was far from over.
could you all be so dull? This fruit is proving far more entertaining than your little squabble.
Let's see if the rumors of your power are true.
Hear me, scions! I am officially out of patience. The exhibition is over. How utterly dull. Perhaps erasing the Earth will cure my boredom. Beerus, you will not touch my home. How dare he? I'll show them the power of a true Saiyan warrior. We're not here for entertainment. I vow to drag Beerus down from his pedestal.
He never saw the attack coming. The impact was immense, sending Goku spinning wildly through the endless void of the Null Realm.
You are pathetic! You're too slow, Saiyan. Did you really think you could track the movements of a god of destruction like me? Get off him! Kamehameha! I get stronger the more I am hurt! Kamehameha! Final flash! Too predictable. Ends now. If they cannot survive, they were never worthy. Vegeta, the air rings! I would rather die than fuse with you again! If we die here, Bulma and Bulla die too. Damn you, Kakarot! Beerus watches the destruction closely, his eyes narrowing as he senses something cutting through the energy. I am Vegito Blue! Feel that? That is the pressure of a true fusion warrior. Finally, a challenge worthy of a god. Sword! Take this, Vegito. You cannot withstand my full power. Looks like the gods aren't so mighty after all. Is that all you've got? Final Kamehameha! Energy, it's tearing the fusion apart. We're splitting up. A valiant effort, but ultimately futile. I remember the promise I made. I will protect my family, my friends, and my universe. I am the prince. Ultra
defeat us that easily!
We're just getting started!
Take this!
Never!
Fight not as rivals, but as perfect counterparts, covering each other's weaknesses in perfect synchronization. Kamehameha! Gallic Gun!
I can't believe I lost again. At least it's finally over.
You two actually managed to pull it off. I suppose a god of destruction has to admit when he's impressed. Don't let it go to your heads.
You fought well, but next time, I promise, I won't hold anything back.
Speaking of which, I do believe this calls for a rather large feast. I know just the place.
Kamehameha! Final Flash!